Well, good morning and welcome to a little bit of makeup and a whole lot of Jesus. It is great to have you here with me this morning, where we are going to spend about the next 30 minutes together putting on our makeup, a little beauty on the outside, a whole lot of beauty on the inside. So we'll be learning a verse together this week. And our foundation verse for this podcast is I have hidden your word in my heart that I might not sin against you. And that's from Psalm 119, verse 11. So last week, our verse that we worked on, you can see that on your screen now if you're new with us. The verse we had last week was Psalm 34:8. Taste and see that the Lord is good. And I hope you enjoyed coloring that picture in our verse coloring book this week. This week, you want to give yourself a little bit of extra time because this week's verse is a little bit of a complicated coloring page. So make sure once you get that page done that you post that so I can take a look and see what you did because ours may look similar, ours may look totally different. I'd love to see what you got. So let me get that off of there. We are going to be, oh, let's see. So I talked about it a little bit. So like I said, all the verses are coming from the Word and Color coloring book. So you can see that QR code on your screen there. So if you haven't already picked up your copy, make sure you do that. When you get to the end of this season, we'll have finished that entire book and you'll have this beautiful picture display of verses that you have worked with and verses that you have hidden in your heart. So make sure to pick up your copy for that. All right. So what we are going to be working on this week, like I said again, is going to be a new verse. And so for this week, we have got, there we go. We have got Galatians 6:9. Sorry, I just got new glasses and now I can't read anything. So that's always fun. Okay, so the verse this week is, and let me show you the picture so you'll see what I'm talking about. This is what we've got for this week. So you're going to want to make sure that you set yourself a little bit of time aside for that. So our verse this week is, and let us not grow weary of doing good, for in due season we will reap if we do not give up. And that is Galatians 6:9. So we'll enjoy working on that today, and then you'll be able to work on that all week. And I'm going to do something a little different I haven't done. So usually I take the graphics that I put on the social media and I put that as a wallpaper on my phone, but usually they're turned the wrong direction. So for this week, I'm going to do a graphic that is for your phone specifically. So that way, like me, you can use it as your wallpaper. And then every time you're opening and closing your phone, um, you'll have that to look at. I'll still do the landscape mode one. That way, if you have an iPad or something like that, then you'll be able to use that there. So anyways, just an extra option for you so that you have a reminder and a refresher all throughout the week so that you can get that verse memorized. So let me get that off the screen. We're going to get that verse scrolling on the bottom. There we go. And we are going to be working this week on what I'm going to call a modified cut crease. So in this particular application that we're going to be doing, you're going to need four different colors. So we're going to need a light that we'll use on the brow bone. We're going to need a medium that we'll use on the lower lid. And then we're going to need two darks. So kind of a dark and a darker or a darkest. So that's what we're going to be working on this week. So like always, we are going to be starting with our Urban Decay primer. This is our all-nighter face primer, and one pump will do ya. That goes middle finger, get it warmed up. There we go, and put that in the places where you know you may have a little slipping and sliding, or where you're going to need the most coverage. This also is going to help smooth out fine lines and wrinkles. So put that appropriately. I also like to go around my lips a little bit with it because it helps my lipstick and my liner to stay in place, not creep out so bad. All right, there we go. We'll set that aside. Now we are going to grab our It Cosmetics by Under Eye. Mine happens to be in the shade 11, light nude. This does better when you let it warm up just a smidge. So we are going to take just a little ribbon of that. There we go. We're going to let it sit on that middle finger for just a second to let my body warm it up just a little bit. And then we are going to apply that. There we go, covering up anything. For me, redness, darkness, could be acne scars. just anything it is that you're trying to conceal, to cover up, to lessen its impact before your makeup application. We're going to let that set there for just a second, let the body heat that up so that when we take that beauty blender to blend that out, it's going to just move and blend nicely, yet stay intact. So I'm going to use the back end of the beauty blender, and this one is the Real Techniques Miracle Air Blend Sponge. Love this one because it doesn't absorb so much of your makeup, more of it stays on your face. Nobody needs an expensive beauty blender. So here we go. You're just going to blend that out. Going on the lid, kind of like a primer. There we go. We're actually going to be adding some color to the inside corner of the eye today. So make sure that you get the inside corner of the eye so that the color that you choose will, stay and be vibrant and show up. Now that we've got that done, we're going to switch to our Lancome Tinty Doll. Mine is in the shade 215 Buff Neutral. And neutral colors are going to shoot straight down the middle. It's not going to pull to the yellow, orange. It's not going to pull to the pink. You're shooting straight down that middle in that neutral territory. So I like to do one section of the face at a time with a partial pump. So about that much right there will do each different section of face. So we're going to start in the center. Making sure we get right up next to those lips. I have a tendency to touch my chin a lot, so making sure I give a little extra attention to my chin. Another pump's going to do well, what is to me the right cheek. Avoiding that hairline there. Another partial pump. Other cheek. I see several of you online with me. Good to have you here live with me this morning. Hope you enjoyed that verse last week. Good job. I see a couple of you have memorized that. That's awesome. And then we're going to blend this out to our chin. So one pump is just going to go along the jawline here. And then blend that down just a little bit. And then finally, one partial pump is going to do our forehead. For me today, I'm going to lift my hair up. Going right up to that hairline, so we've got complete coverage of that foundation. And then making sure we nestle that right in the center, and then right down to that brow. So I get asked a lot, does it matter what order you're doing things? You'll see some people will start with the brows first, some people start with the eyes first. You know what? Just get it done. As long as it's an order that works for you, that you're used to, and you're making it happen, is all good. This just happens to be the order that I put it in. It seems most logical, and nothing bumps into and affects anything else. So knock yourself out, whatever order it is that you want to do things in. Then we're going to seal this with our Long Time No Shine from Lancome. Again, this does come with a little bit of a puff, and I pre-filled my thing, and that is a lot of powder. Okay, so we're going to start out under the eye area, making sure that we set everything that we just laid down. We want it to be where it's supposed to be, have a little oil control properties. That's for me. Combo skin. If you're a dry skin, this powder will still work great for you. It just may, uh, you won't get so much benefit from the no shine. If you like a nice matte though, this gives a great matte, so that'll definitely help with that finish that you want. If you like a dewy finish, then I would maybe choose a different setting powder or finish off your makeup application with a setting spray that's going to give you that dewy finish at the end. And we're just pressing that powder in to set that foundation. Let me get some of this scooched out. There we go. And then we're going to come up here to the forehead and do the same thing here. We're just pressing that powder in, sealing that foundation so that it stays put all day long. Okay, now we've got all that. We are going to move on to a little bit of contouring. Today I'm going to be using the Benefit Cosmetics Cheek in the Mail palette. Two things out of this palette. We're going to be using the Hoola and we're going to be using the Cookie here. So our bronzer and our highlighter. Um, this has a little bit of warmth to it. If you already have a little warmth to your skin, you could choose to use a traditional, maybe a cooler, darker color for your contouring. Totally your preference. I choose to use the bronzer just because I like that it gives a little warmth to my skin. And we're going to go just above the jawbone here, giving it kind of a little bit of an arc. There we go. Same thing on the other side. It's weird to not have to hold back my hair. Get just a little bit right up against that hairline, under the jawbone here. We're going to give a little definition to the schnoz. And just keep going back over the area until you have the desired depth that you want. Better to start out with a little light-handed and add some later, because once you got too much on there, a little hard to do that. Then you have to start all over again. And now we're going to use the Cookie right up next to that eye socket there. And then across the top of that cheekbone. This is your highlighter color, whatever brand it is that you are using. And I am a little bit obsessed with this Juvia's Place blush palette. So we are going to be using the blushed. This is the Rouge 4. These are very pigmented, so it does not take much. I am literally talking tap, tap, and you have enough powder for the whole thing. So what is the top color called? I don't even know. So we're going to be using this one here. And literally tap, tap, and you have enough. So depending on the level of blush you want, we're not trying to, have a giant pink chink. We just want a little bit of color in there. I'm going to go up against the hairline for that. I'm going to avoid the nose today. I got enough pink happening. There we go. All right, now we are all contoured up. We're going to switch to our lips. Now I just had my hair done, so I got some purple going on up there, so I'm switching it up today. We are going to be using the NYX. This is the suede lip liner in the color Amethyst. And make sure you've got a good sharp pencil on that, tip on that. Oops, let me see if I can do that. Here we go. Okay. Paying special attention to that cupid's bow so we get that nice little V kind of thing happening in there. This will definitely give the illusion of a fuller lip than you actually possess. That's always a good thing. And then to help our lipstick last a little bit better, have a little bit better color, we're going to go just inside that line that we just created with just a little bit lighter pressure. The liner's job is twofold. First thing is it gives a nice clean definition to the edge of your lip look that you're doing. And the second thing is it helps your lipstick to last better. You'll notice as you go throughout the course of the day, eating, drinking, that kind of thing, that the lipstick in the center where the liner isn't is about the only place that you'll have to replace a good lipstick. Um, Whether you've done the liner or not, you're still going to have that a little bit, but the liner will help that to last a little bit longer. So you get that nice crisp lip look for a longer part of the day. Okay, once you've got that where you want it, you can set this down. And then before we put our lipstick on, let's take a look at our verse. So we've got that scrolling across the bottom of the screen there. Our verse is, and let us not grow weary of doing good, for in due season we will reap if we do not give up. Galatians 6:9. Now for my lips, I'm actually going to be using a KVD. This one is in the shade, let's see, it's Everlasting Liquid Lipstick, and this is in the shade Roxy. So this is a beautiful matte lipstick. Goes on with the doe fit. There you go. Start with the bottom, and I'm going to move to the upper, just making sure that I get a nice crisp line and that it is all even. Okay, getting the inside of the lip there. Okay, and we're going to leave our lips kind of parted a little bit while that dries. Oh yeah, that's a good color. Okay, so onward to what we're doing. So today, for that modified cut crease, I am going to be using the palette. This is Culture by Juvia's Place. We're going to be using Effique on the brow bone, which is going to be the light color. And then we're going to use for the medium, Koba, Kobo, this one here. And for our two dykes, we're going to be using Edu and we're going to be using Katanga. So that's kind of where we're going today, but you use whatever four colors you want. It could be that you're using this with browns, you could do this with pinks. It just matters the variation and the degrees of color that you had. I would choose for the top of the brow bone something that's a little more kind of neutral. It'll just help give a good blend out. I mean, you can do a color all the way to the top if you want, but then it's kind of like, here's color. Okay, so we're going to start out with that Effique. And we are going to just put that on the top of our brow bone here. Okay, let's get that on the other side now. I see a couple more of you have joined me. Good morning. Welcome to a little bit of makeup and a whole lot of Jesus. We are just now starting to work on our eyes. We are working on a modified cut crease. And we are going to grab the Kobo, which is the medium shade of pink for me. And we are going to cover that bottom lid. Go all the way up to where you just placed. So it's going to go right up to the brow bone where you just placed your lighter shade. And we're just going to cover that whole lid area. At this point, it doesn't matter if you've got like a line because that'll all work itself out here in just a minute. All right. Once you have got that, so you can see like I've got a line right here, doesn't even matter. Just keep going on to the next thing because it'll all get modified here in just a second. All of my brushes are either IT brushes or MAC brushes. This particular one is a MAC. Looks like it might be, yeah, I can't tell. 273, 272, something like that. You're looking for an angled shadow brush. This is what we're going to be using. And of the darker colors, you're going to be using the dark, not the darkest, just the dark. We are going to take the tip of the brush and go in the powder this way. So we're just going to get it on the tip of that. And for today, that color is going to be the Katanga, a little bit of a frosty color for me. It doesn't have to be for you. If you don't like frost, don't do frost. All right, we're going to go right under that brow bone using the face of that brush. Oh, evidently I need to go more on there. There we go. And we're going to go right on that brow bone. Again, right now you don't need to worry about blending anything out. We're just depositing color. And then we're going to give brush that a little more time, and we're going to do a little bit right up against that lash line so we can just bring out that color in kind of a nice V shape here on the side. So it's going to go there, and then it's going to go here. Actually, let's give a go with Baronu. I don't think that other one had quite enough of the impact I was looking for. All right, there we go. Baronu. And then do that little V right there. There we go. Okay, much better. Same thing on the other side, going right under that brow bone. And then across that lash line right there. All right, now we are going to fine tune what we just did on that crease. So for this, you are going to need your liner brush. Now we're going to take the darkest shade that you have in whatever color it is. For me, that's going to be Edo. And we're going to take the tip of that and we're just going to drag it through the shadow like that. Right underneath that brow bone, you are going to drag that liner right through there. Do the same thing in the middle. And then again on the outer edge. Same thing on the other side. Middle. And then on the outside edge. And now we're going to take it and we're going to accentuate that V that we just did right here. Okay, and now you're looking at this and you're like, Wendy, what have you gotten us into? Now we've got these like harsh lines all over the place in here. So the first thing we're going to do is go back to the angle brush where we had that first dark color. This time we're going to blend out half and half with the dark color that you had and then the medium color that you used. Tap in one, tap in the other, and you're just going to blend over and over on these until it fans out the color just a little bit. Tap, tap, and we're going to blend these out. You be saying hi to you there in the background. That's right. Just keep going over the area. Um, one time a little to the higher side, one time a little to the lower side. Just go back and forth and gently doing that. That's going to help you to blend out those shades so you don't have those harsh lines. You got it. All right. Close your eyes, look forward, make sure that you've got it about the same distance up. I'm always a little lower on this side for whatever reason. There we go. Okay, now back to the line that we have where we made that cut crease. We are going to take our blender brush, just a little nub tip kind of thing, go back to the darkest shade that you had, and to the inside, let me see if I can get this flat over here. Here we go. To the inside of that, you're going to just color to soften out the top of that cut crease line. There you go. So you're going to blend it out like that. And we're going to go to the other side, do that same thing just to the top of that line. Let that tip that doot doot in the shadow just a little bit. Go to the top of that cut crease line you made and just blend that out a little bit. I like to hit the corners a little bit because I just really like a nice dark outside corner. There you go. Now you can see I got like fallout all over my face because I'm working with really dark colors. So I'm going to take my fluffy brush and we're just going to sweep the color away. There we go. Now back to what we're working on. Keep your eyeshadow palette open and that eyeliner brush because we're going to need that in just a second while we work on the bottom. So we're going to move to this liner right here, which is the NYX retractable liner in black. And then also we're going to be using the Too Faced Better Than Sex liquid liner. This one is in black as well. So with the retractable liner, on the top lid only, from the outside edge to about the center, you're just going to give a nice line. This is going to add some depth and intensity to the outside of the eye. Give the illusion that your eye's a little bit more open. If you've got really big eyes, maybe you don't need to do this step. Then we're going to go to the bottom, right up next to that lash line. We're only going to go about halfway across. You're just going to give a nice little finish eyeliner there. So other side. About halfway across. There we go. Now we're going to take our Better Than Sex liquid liner, give it a little bit of a shake. You can hear those balls moving around in there. And then we're going to do a line from the outside corner to the inside corner. One reason that this is particularly helpful is because the lashes that we're using are these Juvia's Place lashes. This particular lash we're using today is the Nubian lash in Zaria, which is a medium volume lash. It gives a nice flare to it. But that has a nice thick or thick or black band. And so we don't want a gap of my skin to show between my lash line and that lash. Also, we've just applied a bunch of eyeshadows, so you've kind of made the surface not as easily to be adhered to. So by using this liner, we're going to fill in that gap with darkness so that those lashes aren't going to show any of my skin or the eyeshadow that we've just done on there. But you'll see just a seamless black. So it just helps to kind of draw continuity to the eye look that we're doing. So thin line doesn't take much. This brush right here, we're going to start on the outside edge. And right up next to that lash line, you're just going to do a thin line. Like I said, all we're doing is giving that lash a place to adhere to and then sealing in that gap. So you can see, adds a little bit, not a whole lot, just for blending. Okay, so this side right up against the lash line. Come into the outside edge and then fill in that gap in the middle. This one does dry pretty fast, so that's awesome. So you don't have to worry about like the blink and transfer. All right, now we're going to take that liner brush again. You're going to go in the shade that you used, which was your dark, not your darkest shade. And we're just going to take that brush again and drag it through the powder this way. That is going to give us an eyeliner out of our shadow. So then you're going to take it, go right here, right up next to that liner that you just put on the bottom, blend from the outside in. You may need a second little bit just to do the inside of that. Here we go. And you can see I've got it right on there. Just take your finger, swipe that off. There you go. Same thing on the other side. Give just a light load for the inside corner. All right. Making sure that we get all the way to the outside there so that blends in. Okay, now I did tell you that we were going to use a little accent color. So this one's totally optional. You do not have to do this. But if you have an accent color, if you're doing like neutrals, maybe it's like a nice kind of creamy shimmer. Could be a matte color. That part doesn't really matter so much. But just some sort of a different illuminating color that's going to give a little something something to the inside of your eye. So I just had this hair color done. The inside of my hair here on the bottom you can see is an orange, right? So I'm going to take Jigawa is the name of the shade, which is an orange. And I'm going to put this just on the inside of my eye, excuse me. So here's where we go. We're just taking the tip of that little brush. This is an IT brush number 326. It says Precision Eyeliner. Okay, you're going to go into the corner of your eye here and just give a little touch of that. Then we're going to open the eye and just bring that onto the lid ever so slightly. Oh my gosh, I'm in love with that. Now you can see the difference between the two. With, without, with, without. Sorry, I'm a little goofy. I haven't had coffee yet. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing on the other eye. So starting on the inside corner there. And then we're going to take that Jigawa and then bring it up onto that lid just a little bit. Making sure that we get them about the same distance. Oh my gosh, so fun. Okay. Now, for the most part, we are done with our eyeshadow, unless something disastrous should happen to happen with the mascara. So we are going to move to our brows. But before we do that, we are going to review our verse one more time. So that's scrolling across the bottom of your screen. And let us, oh, I'm gonna have to put my glasses on so I can read this. Here we go. And let us not grow weary in doing good. Mm. For in due season we will reap if we do not give up. Galatians 6:9. Obviously, that's a verse I'm working on with you too. All right. We are going to do our brows. So for me, I'm using the Pavilion brow gel. This is in the shade of pink. Whatever color it is that matches your hair, go with that. This is a brow product that I got on Amazon. Works pretty well. It really deposits color. It's not so much really for setting, but it will help to give the color to your brows. If you have fashion color hair like I do, then that's a great line for no matter what color your hair is. I think they've got like 32 different shades or something ridiculous. If you have kind of, normal hair, then I would encourage you to get by your nearest Benefit Brow Bar and have them match you. You can choose a little lighter, you can choose a little darker, totally your personal preference. So we're just going to get a little brow product on there, and we're going to brush that on to our brows. Oh, I see. I got a hair coming down there. There we go. Get that little bad boy out the way. All right. Once you've got your brows the way you want, I like to do the brows at the end because then your eyeshadow doesn't have to be redone or you can't muck it up or anything. There we go. Yes, muck it up is the technical term. Okay. Brow product on the other side. Just make sure your hair's out of the way there. Totally digging this eyeshadow look today. Post me pictures of that. Let me see how yours went. What colors was it that you used, and how did yours come out? I would love to see that. Okay, just making sure I got it even. Okay. Ta-da! And we're going to add mascara first before you put your lashes on. I am using my favorite eyelash curler. This is from Tarte. This was a limited edition they did for Christmas a couple years ago, but it's the exact same shape of the brush, the curler that they have right now. So that has the purple handle. So make sure you've got a good lash curler. It does matter what lash curler you use because the little things that are inside of here are going to matter. The shape of this top part here to not cut off or damage your eyelashes, that is going to matter. And then also, how does it work with your hand? These have a nice curve to them, so your fingers just stay totally nestled in there, no slipping. I don't know if you've ever had that happen to you or not, but if your hand ever slips while you are curling your lashes, you are probably going to rip out every last lash you have. How do I know this? Because yes, I have done that before. Okay, so back to what we're doing. Here we go. So you're going to go right up next to your lash line. And hold on, let me get this over here. There we go. So we're going to say our verse while we are curling our lashes, and that's just about enough time for it to get the curl you want. So lashes in place, go right up next to that eyelid, but not so much as you're going to pinch the lid, and you're going to hold that down, and you're going to say, and let us not grow weary in doing good, for in due season we will reap if we do not give up. Galatians 6:9. Then move to the other side, against the lash line, but not pinching the lid. There we go. Ah, there we go. And let us not grow weary in doing good, for in due season we will reap if we do not give up. Galatians 6:9. Okay, now your lashes are all curled. You're ready to go. Today I'm using Bad Gal Bang from Benefit. This is in the shade of black. Love this brush. And we're just going to put a coat on the top lashes. My lashes are kind of blonde, so this just gives them the color so that they blend in nicely with the false lash we're fixing to put on. Yes, for those of you not from Texas, fixin', that's a real technical word there. All right. Now mascara on the other side. Making sure you're sweeping back on the top tip of those so that you're getting color deposited everywhere. And you just need one coat because you're going to put lashes on. There we go. Now let's switch to the bottom lash. Rolling that brush over, so I'm using the mascara on the back side as well. You can use the tip of the brush if you need to make sure you catch those lashes that are nice and tiny up in there. And also the inside ones over here. There we go. Load that brush again. No pumping. And now let's get the bottom lashes on this side over here. Again, you can use that tip to catch those little fine ones. Give a little separation and definition to the lashes you have. And once you feel like you have sufficiently covered your lashes, you are good there. I always kind of squint afterward. It seems a thing to do to sort of lift the lashes up so they can't transfer in while they're drying. If you notice anything, this brush right here is one of my favorites. This is the 310 Precision Complexion. This is the Velvet Luxe from It Brushes. What I love about this little pointy tip here is you can get into little tiny places. So like under the eye, if you've got anything or you get a little, you can just take that right there and sweep that across. That will help with eyeshadow transfer. That will help if you have noticed that you've got anything like falling into your creases, get that blended out really quick. I love that brush. Okay, enough about that. So now today we're going to be wearing the Nubian Lash Zaria. This is from Juvia's Place. Thing I love about these lashes is the band is super comfortable. They wear really well. The lashes are a little bit long, so I do have to trim quite a bit off. I love all my velour tools. So I've got all these right here that I use with that. I highly recommend those. The little scissors, you're going to cut from the outside of the lash for if you have to trim it at all. So just take the lash, set it on your lash, take a look at it and see if you need to trim anything off. You don't actually want to go all the way from end to end. You want it to come in just a little bit, or you're going to experiencing pinching or poking. So we want to avoid pinching and poking in the eye area. We are using the super strong adhesive. This is from Lash Couture from Kiss Cosmetics. You will notice that this this has this little symbol right here. Can you see that? It has a little open thing and it says 6M. That means that once you open this, you have 6 months for this glue and this adhesive to be at its fullest best operationally. So every 6 months minimum, you need to be replacing this. This has a lot of reasons. Bacteria, drying out, losing its tackiness, lots of reasons. Anyways, every 6 months, replace your lash glue. So I like to give it just a little bit of a shake. We are going to grab our velour tool, this little one here. You're going to peel the lash off the little tray from the outside corner first. I set them down in front of me just as they would look if they were on my eye. So the centers are together. That way I can't, these ones are a flare. So it's super easy to see these because you can tell which side is which side. On some of them where the lash is kind of even all the way across, it gets a little difficult to tell which is which. Once the lash kind of conforms to your eye shape, it's going to be kind of important that you put the same one on the same side every time. Usually these lashes I get I think about 2 week daily use out of them, and they do really well. So we've shaken up the glue a little bit. You're going to take that glue brush, and we're just going to apply it across the top of that lash. And I like to get it on just a little bit of the back of the band there. And you just want to see, for this one, this is a clear glue, so you just want to see a little bit of that. Then we're going to set that down on the desktop, let that set for a second, grab the other lash, same thing. Dip it in, cover the top of that, making sure that it's evenly distributed, and then just a little bit on the back side of that, making sure that we're getting all the way to the tip of the lash there, because nobody likes a lifting lash. All right, by the time we finish with that, it is going to be about ready to go. So let's say our verse together one more time while we're waiting for that adhesive to dry. And let us not grow weary in doing good, for in due season, I don't have my glasses on. For in due season we will reap. There you go. If we do not give up. Galatians 6:9. So that is one we'll be working on this week. So you're going to grab your lash about in the middle, right in the middle. Doesn't matter which well, use the one you glued first. We're going to take that lash and we are going to set it right against the lash line. There you go. Just set it down in the middle. Go to the outside. Set that down. You'll feel just that slightly wetness from that lash adhesive. Gonna go to the inside edge, grab that and set that right on that liner that we did from that Better Than Sex liner. And then just kind of walk it around, make sure you've got everything touching. Position it exactly where you want it. If you get a little adhesive on your tool, just take that. I always keep a tissue on me. Just take that little tissue, wipe that off so your tool is now clean to put the lash on without it grabbing. There we go. There we go. Okay. So you can see the difference with the lash and without the lash, and then what an impact the lashes definitely make. So now we're grabbing that second lash from the center, and we're going to deposit it in the center first. So getting over here, go above the lash a little bit and then just sort of bring it down to the middle there. And place that lash right on that lash line that liner line that you made earlier. Around the outside edge here, I'm gonna go over here. There we go, right on that liner line. Walk it around, making sure we've got everything exactly where we want it. Okay, take that tip of that tool, work your lashes into those lashes. I typically like to just sort of press in, making sure it is where you want it to be. All right. And then just because of everything we've got going on today, I'm going to take this little fluffy highlighter brush. I think this is actually an Anastasia. It's an A23. And we're going to go back to the cookie that we had when we did our contouring. We're just going to get a little cookie on there, and we're just going to add a little extra bling to the top there. Working that like that. There we go. And then the finishing step that we need is our Urban Decay. This is our De-Slick. This is our setting spray. Give it a little bit of a shake. Tip your head back. Fan that out. Let that take just a moment to dry. And we are all good to go now. So I hope you enjoyed the makeup application that we did today with that modified cut crease. Um, Again, I want to remind you that all our scriptures from this year are coming from the Word in Color coloring book. You can see that QR code on your screen right there. So we're going to do a little bit of a review before we head out today. So let's go back and let's see if I can do this without my glasses on. We are going to start out with, so we're going to say the verse together first, and then I'll show it on the screen. So, well, actually, I can't read the verse anyway, so I'll put it up there. So the first one we did was 1 Peter 1:24 and 25. The grass withers and the flowers fall, but the word of the Lord endures forever. Then in episode 2, we did Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. In episode 3, we did 2 Corinthians 12:9. God's grace is all you need. Then we moved to episode 4, and we did Joshua 1:9. Be strong and courageous, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. In episode 5, we switched over to an Old Testament. We're looking at Exodus, and we were in Exodus 15:2, I believe it was. The Lord is my strength and my song. And then in episode, looks like 6, we had Psalm. Hold on, let me find where we were. Psalm 118:24, I think it was. And that was, this is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice. And then someone said, let us rejoice and be glad. Okay, and then in episode 7, we moved to Psalm 8, verse 3, and that was the moon and the stars you set in place. Psalm 8, verse 3. Then in episode 8, which was last week, we did Psalm 34:8, and that was taste and see that the Lord is good. And then this week, we are working on Galatians 6:9. And let us not grow weary in doing good, for in due season we will reap if we do not give up. So thanks so much for hanging with me today. It has been a joy to spend some time with you, working on a little bit of beauty on the outside and a whole lot of beauty on the inside. And so I look forward to seeing you this week on social media. You can find this podcast on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube. I love the way YouTube has it laid out, so I would definitely encourage that one. So before we go, let me just say a prayer as we go throughout the rest of this week, especially because Sunday is Easter Sunday. So tomorrow we're going to remember the crucifixion of our Savior Jesus Christ, who died on the cross for our sins. And then we are going to celebrate on Sunday morning when he has risen from the dead and brought us back to fellowship with God in a renewed relationship. So it's exciting, exciting weekend. So let me see your Easter looks that you've got going on, whether you use this tutorial or another one or something else. I'd just love to see what you got going on. So let us pray us out today. Heavenly Father, I thank you so much for the friends that have joined me today, whether they are actually here with me live or they watch it later on or they see it later throughout the week, maybe even months later. I just pray that you would help us to treasure your words in our heart, that they would be our shield about us, that they would be our comfort, that they would be our resource, our encouragement, that they would be our go-to in times to fellowship with you and to be in relationship with you, Father. I just pray that you would be with all these things and all these friends. In Jesus' name, amen. Well, I hope that you have an absolutely marvelous week this week. And so I will see you next Thursday for another episode of A Little Bit of Makeup and a Whole Lot of Jesus.